Hi, I'm Brad Smith from BeerSmith.com, and this is a short overview of the new BeerSmith Web Recipe Builder, which you can try for free at BeerSmithRecipes.com. BeerSmith is the world's most popular recipe editing software, used by tens of thousands of home and professional brewers worldwide to make beer, meads, cider, and wine. This is not intended to be a tutorial, but I do have detailed tutorials on how to build recipes, as well as how to use various features and tabs on the tutorial page, which you can find at BeerSmith.com. You can access the web-based version of BeerSmith by creating an account at this BeerSmithRecipes.com website, or by just logging in if you're an existing user. The web editing features come with all Gold, Platinum, and Pro level accounts, so this is a free upgrade for many existing users. For new users, you also get the desktop version of BeerSmith if you purchase a Gold or higher license. Before I demo the recipe editor, I want to mention that you can search the largest recipe database of beer recipes by just typing in a few words into the search bar here. So for example, if I type in stout, I can pull up all kinds of stouts, and I can organize them by rating if I want. And you can easily save a private copy of any of these recipes just by going in here and clicking on Store a Private Copy, and then from there you can scale the recipe and use it however you want, scale it to match your equipment, for example, and go out and brew it. So that's a great feature. You have access to all these recipes from BeerSmith Web. You can access the recipe editor and all other tools from the top menu here. So for example, here's ingredients, profiles. If I click on recipes, it'll go to my recipes. There's also a button on the right toolbar that gets you to the recipe web editor as well. And from here, I can go in and click on any of these recipes. So for example, here's my list of recipes. I can organize them into folders. I can copy them, move them, save them, delete them, print brew steps, print various things from here, and basically organize my recipes however I want. On the left side, I can access other features like profiles and ingredients and so on. However, I can click on any recipe to open it, and that brings up the recipe editor. The ingredients are shown in the center here. And I can add a new ingredient using the buttons on the right. So for example, if I want to add a fermentable, I can do that. I can create new ingredients if I want to create custom ingredients that aren't in the list. And most importantly, I can manage my preloaded ingredients and pull up literally hundreds of preloaded ingredients. They're called add-ons on the desktop version. And by just clicking on the checkbox here, I can add those to my list as well, so I get access to additional things. So it's very easy to pick an element and then just add it, and it'll be added to my recipe. Going back to the recipe editor, I can click on any item to edit it as well, which is very easy to do. There's a variety of tools as well that allow you to, for example, scale recipes to different sizes. I can adjust the gravity, the bitterness, the color of the beer just by going up and using any of these tools. I can even work with percentages if you prefer to work with percentages for the grain bill by clicking on the fermentable percent button over here. So there's a variety of tools you can use in creative ways, and I have tutorials on how to use those somewhat creatively to create recipes very quickly. Down in the bottom section here, I have a style comparison guide. So as I'm building a recipe up here above, I can actually compare it to a given beer style, and the entire BJCP style guide as well as wine and mead guides are loaded here, preloaded, and you can use those. And as I build the recipe, it's going to estimate the gravity, the bitterness, the color of the recipe that I'm building, and it's going to show those graphically against the style guide so I can make sure I'm in style. In other areas, I also have these tabs up at the top that allow me to access more advanced tools. So for example, I can build yeast starters here and determine the size of the yeast starter I need. I can play with detailed water profiles, including building up water profiles from scratch if I like. By using my base water, I can dilute the base water. I can match different water profiles from this tab. I have a mash tab, which allows me to adjust my mash settings, my initial conditions, the volume needed, everything. And down on the bottom, I can also do pH adjustments. So if you're an advanced brewer and you are into mash pH, you can do that from here. I should mention I have tutorials, separate tutorials on every one of these different tabs. There's a brew day timer that allows you to do your mash steep timer, as well as the boil timer, and it shows step-by-step instructions, and it also plays an alarm There's a session tab where I can record session data, including my fermentation data down here at the bottom. And then, of course, there's space for notes, and you can play with your various brewing volumes. But most of the work is actually done from the design screen here. I should also mention that the program supports building mead, wine, and cider recipes. So, for example, I can pick mead, wine, and cider types here. If I go out to the main recipe builder recipe list here, I've got a blackberry mead that I made here. And again, it's got all the ingredients listed here. There's tools for creating starters for meads, tools for doing adjustments for meads, for example, for your nutrient schedule. So there's a lot of dedicated tools here for doing for mead, wine, and cider brewers. And I should mention you can make mead, wine, and cider using the same equipment that you use to make beer. So a nice way to widen your hobby a little bit. Back in the main view, as I mentioned, I can build and change my own profiles. For example, my equipment setups. There are a ton of preloaded ones. If I click on the preloaded button here, for all kinds of manufacturers here, there's things like the Grainfather, the Blickman systems, a lot of popular brewing systems. You can just click on the checkbox here, and it'll download those into your system, and you can just use those instead of having to build your own. I do have ingredients, so you can also do the same thing with ingredients. You can download custom ingredients. You can create your own custom ingredients. You can load preloaded ingredients from these various views. And of course, you can share ingredients and profiles now. With the desktop version, you can transfer them back and forth very easily. Down in the tools menu, there's a whole bunch of dedicated brewing tools that'll do various calculations for you. Simple things like maybe you want to do hydrometer adjustments, or you want to do mash adjustment to get the mash temperature just right. You can use the tools here to build that. And then, of course, I have unit tools for unit conversions. So if you want to convert between different weight units or different volume units, that's very easy to do here just by clicking on these. And down at the bottom, there are unit settings for the overall program. So, for example, if I want the entire system to work in metric, I can just click here on Set to Metric and save my unit settings right here. And it will save that, and now the entire thing will work in metric, for example. So if I went back to one of my recipes here, it's now all going to show up in metric, which is nice. So a very powerful suite of tools for beer brewing, as well as mead, wine, and cider. As I mentioned, you can get the web version for free by or a 30-day free trial, I should say, by going to BeerSmithRecipes.com. You can also download the desktop software from BeerSmith.com. If you purchase a gold or platinum or pro license, you get access to both the web version and the desktop version for one low price. And that's a quick overview of BeerSmith Web. I do have more detailed videos and tutorials that actually show you how to use the software, how to build recipes. I've got a tutorial on every single tab, and you can find those at beersmith.com/video. They're also linked into a lot of the software. I'd like to thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great brewing day.